Have Brad Brownell from Clemson. I believe he is on.
I'm here.
There he is. Good morning, Brad. Good to see you.
Good morning.
If you have a question for Brad, go ahead and use the raise hand tool. For those just joining us, if you need access to record, send me a note in the chat window and we can do that. Mike Barber, you're up first. Go ahead.
Morning, Coach. Good to see you.
Morning.
I'm curious, when you coach guys and over the years or this year's team, is there something, a characteristic that makes you say, hey, that guy could one day be a good coach?
That's a good question. Certainly I think just feel is part of it, and then maybe communication would be the next. Those two things. A guy that has a feel and probably a love for the game is part of that. You don't very rarely do you have great feel without having knowledge and understanding and love for basketball. But then you also got to be a good communicator. So I think those two things would be my two.
And you might have a different angle on this. Is it only point guards that can become good coaches?
No, I don't think so at all. Absolutely not. Those guys certainly probably have the ball in their hands, are decision makers, and so they have grown up doing it more. But no, there's no reason that has to be the case. I don't think Phil Jackson, I don't think, was a point guard.
Thank you, Coach.
David Teal, go ahead.
Brad, along those lines, did Mark Byington strike you as a coach type when he was at Wilmington?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he did. Bright guy, knew the game. I don't remember him talking about coaching, although a lot of guys who are good players, they think and they're concentrating on, hey, I want to play and play for as long as I can. But certainly Mark has both those characteristics. He was a very sharp guy. Great communicator and got along with all different kinds of guys on the team and very well respected. So yeah, not surprised at all that Mark is not only a coach, but that he's had the kind of success that he's had.
And then more along the lines with your current team, PJ and Joe, everyone knows about, but how key has Ian been to your club so far this season?
Yeah, he's a really good, tough, competitive guy who's a natural fit with Joe and PJ and Chase. Those are kind of our three scoring guys that have the ball in their hands the most. And then he's a complimentary guy who does a lot of the tough things that good teams have to win. And he's got tremendous competitive spirit. Very unassuming guy. I actually wish he'd be a little bit more demonstrative and talkative at times. But he just fills the role that this team needs extremely well. And I think his basketball skill level has really grown in his career. He can do some things now that he just couldn't do when he was a younger player.
Mark Berman, go ahead.
Good morning. Obviously a rough week for you this past week with the losses there. What are you going to be addressing in practice? Can I try to shore some things up heading into the game in Blacksburg on Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, two different types of games. Obviously, the Miami game, we were extremely poor defensively in the second half. It turned into a pickup game, and that's probably not the best way for us to play all the time. And we just, got behind and tried to quick shoot our way out of it. So that's shot selection and discipline and just, being a little smarter. And obviously that wasn't the problem on Saturday. Saturday was shot making. Our defense was very, very good. North Carolina's was very good. But we go 1 for 18 from three. And I think we, in our shot quality, 11 or 12 of them we had rated as a 3, which we either give it a 3, 2, or 1. And so we had 11 shots, 12 shots that we feel are, really good offensive shots. And we only made 1. And so that makes it really hard. You lose 21 points to a team at the 3-point line. It's a challenge.
Obviously, last week notwithstanding, this has been a great season for you so far. Was there a certain point in the non-conference or in the preseason that you were like, oh, this could be a special bunch?
I mean, I liked this team from the beginning. I liked our habits in the fall. I like the way our pieces fit. You never know how it's all going to work. Certainly the win at Alabama, I think, was a huge win in terms of, top 20, top 10, whatever team they are. In a road environment, hostile environment, handling the crowd, playing with poise, getting good performances from several guys. I think that gave us a lot of confidence. And so that would probably be the one win that initially kind of tells your team, hey, we got a chance if we can play the right way to have a good season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go next to Mike Waters. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Brad. When you bring in a guy like Joe Girard in the offseason, you're adding a guy who can shoot the basketball.
Yep.
And I was wondering in what other ways has he impacted your team? And maybe something you didn't expect.
Not really anything we didn't expect, just because we've competed against Joe for so long. Knew his game. He played both with the ball in his hands as a point guard, kind of with Buddy. But then he'd also played without it last year, more with Judah. He's a very good passer. He has very good basketball smarts. I mean, he's got good savvy. He's, if you're open, he can find you. And he does a really good job of finding our inside guys. Those things are all things that we anticipated, hoped. And he's been exactly what we thought from that standpoint, been really, really good. He's a sharp guy. You never know. You kind of feel like, hey, he's probably a really smart player, but he is, and I think, one of the things is just, encouraging him to be vocal, with our team. I think, Chase is a little quieter. And PJ, I think it's hard sometimes for your center to be the guy who's leading in games. PJ does a great job in practice, before, after games, all that. But within a game, I think getting Joe to continue to be a leader and be vocal and be comfortable to do that is something we're working on. And he's done a nice job so far, but love to keep working with that.
Just a quick follow-up. Is part of that being vocal thing kind of maybe hard for some players to do, given when they're new to a program?
Yeah, I think there's a respect factor. We've been pretty good last year, and Joe knows it, and he knows that he's got some pretty good players on this team. And because he's a great kid, he doesn't want to come in and make it about him. He wants to be about the team. He's trying to assimilate to the team. And so he's very cautious about overstepping, right? And I think our guys have really done a good job of welcoming him with open arms and letting him know, hey, we want you to be who you are, and all those kinds of things. But at the same time, he's very respectful of PJ and Chase and guys that have been in the program 4 years, 3 years. And so he doesn't want to overstep. And, the longer he's been here, obviously, the more trust he earns from everybody. And he's done a great job. We love having him. He's been a terrific young man to coach.
Thanks.
We'll wrap up with John Blau. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Brad, just wanted to get your thoughts on Virginia Tech. You talked about, obviously, it's a tough place to play down there. I guess, why are they a tough program? Why is that a tough place to play?
They have a great environment. It's loud in there. Students do a good job, and they have good teams. Mike's done a nice job with that program. They have good players. Padula's back healthy, and he and Couture on the perimeter are two very talented guards that are both, make big time tough shots and both handle the ball well. And Lynn Kidd, who transferred from us to there, is really developed into a nice player and having a terrific season. So Mike does a great job. They do a great job as a staff with a lot of good offense, both inside and out. I just think that, in that environment, it's a tough place to go win, because they take care of the ball, they shoot well, and then they just play really hard. So very, very similar ways. I think the teams look identical in certain situations. We're similar in how we do a lot of the things in terms of how we play. So we know it'll be a tough matchup for us.
Brad, thank you. Appreciate the time.
Okay. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Next up, we will bring on